Yes, so I'll start by giving a recap of the last session. So in the last session, I discussed about having CRUD operations on the product entity. So this product entity is like a sub entity of it is a sub entity of the sections model. So now here in today's session, I'll teach you how we can integrate JavaScript. I also have the CSS code with me, so I can so that I can also use the code, the CSS code here, and I can also explain that to you. Uh, we need not have much explanation there. We can have a simple gist of what we're trying to do in CSS, and CSS is the easiest part of MAD-1 project. So our core focus would be on search functionality, some JavaScript implementations, and how we can add a small touch of JavaScript inside our project, and because that is also required. So now I'll first, yeah, so yes, yes, tell me. Yeah.
Should we need to create JavaScript separately in static or template?
You need not actually create a separate JavaScript folder or something. Inside the templates only, like today, I'll teach you how we can create search functionality using JavaScript. So now I'll create a template search.html. So that would be the way you would operate, and then inside that HTML file directly you would have the script tag, and you can mention the JavaScript, the functions there.
Okay.
Yeah, because usually you're not going to have much of scripting here. So inside, so below the HTML code, you can directly mention the script functions, and I'll show you how we can do that in the search functionality. For now, the objective is to have a server-side search functionality where we include JavaScript to filter the results live. And finally, we also will learn about CSS and how we can use that. So for implementing JavaScript, I would create a new template. This would be our final template called as search.html. So this template would have the complete code for the search functionality. So now for now we'll just go to the app.py because we want to have a search route so that we can have a direct link to go to search.html. So that is a route that we want to create. And yeah, so for searching it, we will be implementing the search route here, and we will be connecting it to the HTML page. So let me create a search route over here. So we can define this route something like app.route. Yeah, app.route/search. So this can be our search route. We need not mention any methods because there'll be just a function that will be calling when we hit the search route. So here I'll define the search method. Inside of this method, okay, so this method would not have any parameters. We are not having any dynamic parameters here. You would actually want to take the request.arg. So whenever you see search functionality, if I just try to, okay, let me pass this. Yes. So if I just try to go to this page, yes. So whenever you see any search functionality, even on the browser, you would see something like so say this is the website that you're visiting on the browser, and say it has some products. So this is a dummy URL that I'm trying to show. You would have something like question mark query equal to umbrella or something. So this would be the search URL that you'd usually see whenever you try to create or whenever you try to do some search operation. Even on Amazon website, you'll see a similar search query. So this is the way that search routes are created. You have this query, and you are trying to extract that query from the URL. So in our application, we are assuming it to be something like this. We are assuming the URL to have a search query starting with Q. So Q would be the name and Q equal to umbrella. So this is the search query, and this would be the URL that would be appearing. So this is the exact URL that we are trying to work with. So this is our application, this is the search route, and this is the
And
search
your
query.
voice is breaking.
Yeah. Yes, tell me.
Your voice is breaking a little bit.
Uh, Yeah, I'll just switch my connection. Is it audible now? Am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible now.
Okay. Yes. So what I was telling is we are working with this kind of a search query where say I have a product named carrots. So this would be the search query that we are trying to work with. So now for implementing that URL, what we are trying to do is inside the search route, first we need to extract the query part of it. So here we have slash search q equal to carrots. So what you want to do is first extract this carrots from here. So for extracting carrots from the URL, you would have something like q equal to. So q is where we are storing the carrots. So you are getting request dot args, which is the arguments dot get, and we're getting the q argument. So q is the name of the argument that we are getting. In case it's not there, we're just returning null dot strip. Strip would remove the preceding and the succeeding spaces. So this is how we extract, the part of carrots from the URL. So now what we're trying to do is now this query we have gotten the query something like carrots or something, but we want to search if that product is available. So because the search functionality is for searching products, you can get the results equal to what you're trying to do is you're trying to search inside the product table. So I'm going to take product table, so products table dot query. So how do you search for a particular product name? You are going to filter it. So products.query.filter. So inside the products, you have certain fields. So we have to take the name field. So inside the filter option, I'm going to take something like products dot name. So I'm going to filter it products dot name. So now I'm going to use ilike. So ilike would take in regular expressions and it would return if there are any matching combinations. So ilike would take in regular expressions like this. So let's say we define regular expressions starting with f, and then we have the regular expression defined inside of this uh, quotations. So now I'm going to have anything. So this percentage represents anything. Then I want to have the query in between that, and then I want to have anything. So this means that I can have anything in the start, I can have anything in the end, and I need to have the query somewhere in the middle. So somewhere in the middle, I should have the word carrots. So only then I would match this, and I would take all of them. So I don't want a single return output. I want all of them. So now this should be there. If at all Q is present, so if at all Q is present in the URL, I need to get all this, else I need to have just an empty array. So these are the results. Now I would return the results to the search.html page directly. So return render template. I'm going to take search.html, and then I'm going to take results is equals to results and query equal to q. So now here I'm going to pass on the results to this template, and I'm also going to pass on the query. So now, so that I can utilize these results and print them to the user. I can utilize this query and show that these are the results for this particular query. So I'll print both of them. So this is why I am passing on both of these values to search.html. Let me go to search.html. Here again, I will have to yes. Before implementing search.html, I would want to show it somewhere, right? So the best place to implement is on the base.html page, because this is like a template, and here I can have this search box in the navigation bar. So now this is the navigation bar with all the nav links. So now I can have a search form here. So I can have the search bar like a form. I can create a form with yes. So for this form, I can have so there is a method. So we have to define the method. So here for this particular form, I'm not going to use method post. Rather, I'll be using method get. So that is because here I'm not trying to post this request. I am just trying to get and when I try to get, I have to also mention the action that I want to perform. So I would also have another parameter action which is equals to which redirects us to the search page. So now whenever a person submits this form, I want it to send a get request to this particular page. So whenever I send a get request to this particular page, this page would load, this page would appear, and then I would have the action where I just go to this page. I don't want to post anything. I just want to go to this page, where this page would extract the query and then try to give the results. So that is the complete functionality, like the complete flow of how this would work. So you can ask any questions if you have here, because this is an important thing to know. You are not going to use the method post, rather you'll be using the method get.
Understood.
Okay, nice. So now I'll use method equal to get over here. And other than this, I also want to first define the action. So the action when the form is submitted should be something like this. It should redirect me to URL for search. So it should redirect me to the search.html page with the method of get. And I would want to give this a class of search form. I would want to, style it whenever I go to the CSS file. So now here I have to have an input field where I have type equal to text. So this is the form, so this is a query field. So I would want to have name equal to q. So name equal to q would allow me to fetch the output. So whatever we are trying to input in this form field, we can query it by using the name q. And then the placeholder would be something like search products, so that users know what they have to search for. They cannot search for sections, but they can only search for products. And then we have a button of type equal to submit, and yeah, go, something like that. So you have a search products in the navigation bar. So I think this is it. Now we can directly go to search.html and implement the HTML file with the templates and everything. So now here I will want to copy. Let me take a, yes, I will want to copy this. I will extend the base.html. I would also want the end block. Yes. So I hope you're following alongside me. You can do the same thing. It can make your development process easy. So now in the h tag, as I mentioned before, I was passing two different things to this page. One was the results of the query and the other was the query itself. So query itself I was passing because I want to render something like results for, and then I want to display the query what the user has put in the form, so that they also know that these are the products that are displayed for this particular query. So after having that in the h tag, I would also want to have an input. So now this input is because I would also want to allow the users to be able to filter the results. So not only do I want to display the results, the search query results onto the screen. So those results I would show that inside of a table. But apart from that, I would also want the users to be able to filter these results. So I'll have another input tag with a type of text ID. I'll give it an ID of filter, and I can have a placeholder, something like filter these results. Yes. So now let us leave this input box for now. Let us first render the results that we have gotten from the previous query. So I'll render it inside of a table. I'll give the table an ID of results, again for CSS purpose. And here I'll have a T row where I'll have all the headings. One heading would be the product, because we are trying to fetch the product, so product would have the product name. You can check the model rows, so the different columns in the product model, so that you'll be able to see what we would want to print. So we have the product, the section of that particular product, and then the price of the product. I think these three are enough for now. We can also render remaining, but we can do these three for now. So now here I would want to have a for loop. Now for loop, because for every next row that I am trying to create, I would want to have a for loop so that I can render that many number of rows. So for p in results, so we are passing results, right? So for p in results, I would want to so I'll also end. Okay. So for p in results, if at all I don't have any results, I would want to also have an else block. I would not want to leave the user alone, but I would want to have an else block with again a t row with again a data. So inside the data, I would want to have a call span of three. Call span of three because again you would have three. You would be expected to have three rows, but three columns, but you would not have them. So I am having a call span of three directly, and say something like no products found. Right. So this is what happens if it is not present, and then at the end I would want to have something like a end for. So yeah, so these three things would be there. Now inside the for loop, I would want to have a t row for every product in the results with the t data again. The t data would be something like it would have p dot name. It would have okay p dot section dot name. So how
Hi,
am
your
I able?
voice is slightly breaking.
Yes, tell me.
Your voice is slightly breaking.
I am actually on. Okay, I'll just jump back to the previous network. Is it better now? Is it better now? Hello, hello. Right. So now let us come back to the search.html page. So I would also want to render p.price slash p.units because price would be the actual price of the product, and then units would be per liter or per kg or something. So this is how I would want to represent it. So next after this, I can also have so now this complete table is rendered, which is going to display all the results of the products. So now after this, we would want to implement the filter functionality as well. So now what you can do is I would want to implement this filter functionality using JavaScript, and that is what I'll be that is something that I would be showing it now. So here below the table, you can create a script tag. So the script tag would hold the complete JavaScript functionality for, okay, so JavaScript functionality for the filter implementation. All right. So now inside the script tag, you can have, so first you would want to get element by ID, this filter. So you want to get this filter input so that you can extract what the user has put inside of that box. So const box is equals to document dot get element by ID, and you want to get the filter element. So this way you can start implementation alongside me. So you have the box as a component. Then you would want to add an event listener to this box. So what is an event listener? It would listen to any changes happening inside of this input field. And if there is any kind of change, say whenever we press any key, so whenever we kind of press any key, you have key down, the key goes down, and you then have the key coming back up. So whenever you are trying to press a key, when the key comes back up, that is also an event. So what we are trying to do is, whenever a user comes to our filter box and types any kind of filter to our current results, whenever that user lifts their key, so whenever they type something and lift it back up, you would want to trigger some kind of action, because that key up action, that key up event indicates that some letter must have been typed onto the key, so onto the input box. So now you want to add an event listener of key up. So this way you are tracking anytime the user uh, presses the key goes down, the key comes back up. So whenever this key up is triggered, you are trying to implement a callback function. So this is the callback function that you are trying to implement. So inside of this function, you would want to first get the filter term. So whatever term is there, const term equal to box dot value dot to lowercase. So you're getting the filter by string. So this is the string that is there inside the current box. Now you want to do something like document. So here, so this is important. So now here you want to, yes, you want to first use this filter and try to understand what kind of, so how do we filter it here? So this is slightly different because we are trying to implement this in JavaScript. We cannot directly do something like how we did it in, yes. So we cannot implement it as we implemented the previous search functionality. So I'll just yeah, so I'll just explain how we can do that. So now to implement this filter methodology, you would use something like document.querySelector all. So what this thing, what this is this is like a tool in JavaScript. It can find and grab a list of elements from the web page. So what we are trying to do is, whatever elements that we are rendering, we don't know what is going to come here because we cannot. So we don't know how many rows are going to be rendered. We don't know what kind of information is going to be populated inside of those rows. So instead of having a definite value, we are trying to filter on an indefinite list. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to have a query selection on a list that is not definite. So here you would use something like document.querySelector all, which is something like go find every item in this particular room that matches this specific label. So using this, what you would do is, you would write document dot query selector all. Okay, here you are trying to you are trying to select the results. So this is the results where you're getting it here. So this is the results ID. You are going to select it on this particular element, and here you are also going to have the T rows. So here document.querySelector all, you are trying to fetch or filter on this particular element because it is having a ID of results, and you're going to also use only the T rows because you're going to only filter it based on these T rows. You don't want to yes, you don't want to filter it on anything else but just the rows of this particular table. So now yes, let me go back here. So not only this, you would want to have it here where this T row should not be the first child. So not first child. So what this does is, you don't want to have this thing on this first child because this is the first T row child. And you don't want to have it done on that. So you will use something like not first child, and this will not implement the query selector on the first child. So now after this, I would end it here. I would not end it here. Yes. So this is the complete. This is the complete. You can say like an expression over here, and then for all these selections that we are making for each row. So for each row inside of the selection, I will actually try to check. So this is what we are trying to fetch first. We are doing document dot query selector all. Then for the results ID. So this is the object with the results ID, the complete table on top of it. We are also taking only the T rows inside of it. We are not considering the first child, so not first child. So now we are considering only these. So whatever we are going to render inside of these, for each of those renders, what I want to do is I want to take the row and have a callback function. So for each row, I want to take row.style.display. This displays the row, and so row.style.display. So this thing is whenever a row is there, we have a style attribute where we can set the display attribute as true or false. So what that display attribute should be depends on if it matches the search query term of the filter. So row.style.display, that means we want to display a particular row if and only if row.inner text or inner text dot two lowercase. So you want to match it with the lowercase, because again for the filter query also I guess we are taking it as a lowercase. Box dot value dot two lowercase. So here again, here also you would want to have it in lowercase. Here inside of this you have dot includes, so two lowercase should include this term. So if it includes, then the row dot style dot display should be nothing. So this means it should be displayed. Otherwise, if it is not including it, you have to have row.style.display equal to none, which automatically hides that particular record from the table. So this is how you implement it inside of the script tag. If you just save it, you can see how we are trying to implement the filter functionality. You can ask any questions if you have based on this script tag.
Yes, ma'am. Instead of writing query selector on, we can use get element by class name because uh, that one is static, so it will be much slower than this one.
Yes, actually, we can actually directly take in the document or query selector. So without using this, you can directly take in with get element by ID
Yes,
or get value or something. But what I found is, like, if we have to, so we can directly query and then get this. So we, but what we would have to do is, what you could not do there is, you could not omit this particular row, I think. So yeah, you could not omit this particular row, because otherwise if you want to select only these particular rows, there is no possible method in which you can select it, because this is rendered dynamically. I mean, you can plan on giving it an ID of something, but then an ID should be a unique identifier. You can give it something like class, but then again I think can you, yeah, document dot get element by class name. Yes. So I think this is how you could again use it, because if you give all these elements a single class name inside of this tr, you could get element by class name, and then try to filter it on top of that. But this query selector is actually the most efficient way of doing this, because you can directly omit the rows that you want to neglect, and this takes it this takes in dynamic data without us having to have this classes and IDs managed. So it directly takes in the results ID and then the T rows inside of it, and then tries to check if it includes. But yes, we can also implement it the way you mentioned, by taking the value directly from the document. But again, it would require us to have to manage these classes and IDs.
Okay, understood.
All right. So here, after the script tag is complete, you have actually, yes. So this completes the functionality of filter. So this is a small example of how JavaScript could be used inside of your application. Now let me go to yes, so let me go to the admin page. Before doing that, I think yes, if I just go over here, yeah, this is the admin page. So now everywhere you'll have this kind of a search uh, tab here. So here for this page, you can search for some products, say carrots. And if I click on go, I would be able to see. Okay, so I should be able to see the query here. I'll just check why it's not getting rendered. So I think when I passed the search template, I passed it as query. So my bad, I should have mentioned query over here. And now if I just go back here, I think I would be able to see. So yeah, this was what I was mentioning. This is the endpoint that we were working with. And these are the results for carrots. So now let me go back to the admin dashboard and add some more products that start with carrots. So carrot pudding. And then product price should be this and kg wise. And I have 15 of them. And let me save. So now if I go to the search functionality and try to type something like carrot, I'll be able to see both of them because we are trying to match, we are trying to first, uh, we are trying to make it lowercase and then try to check if it is available inside of these product names. And I think if I try to filter it, okay, okay, I'll just check why the filter functionality is not working. Is it okay? I'll just go back to search.html. So here we are getting this element. We are trying to have an event listener. We are taking in the document. So you are checking the results for each row. Right, this search function, this thing looks good. I think there's some error here. Just, yeah. There must be some kind of yes, there must be. So that was a mistake. I would have to have a not here and then the first child, and I should not have had the bracket over here. So I think now if I just refresh and then okay, yes, now it's completely working. If I have something like pudding, I just see that one here. So this is again dynamic. If I just type, so what is happening is whenever I am typing a particular letter, when the key is coming back up, it is trying to do a quick search on these results, and it's only trying to display the results that match that particular search. So yeah, so this is how the filter functionality would also work. Apart from this, so before I move on to CSS, if you have any questions here.
No, ma'am.
Right. So this is the CSS file. I have not yet saved it so that I would be able to work in the previous look. So this is the previous look and feel. I have not yet saved it. So I'll now go back to this. So this is the complete CSS file that we will. So I'll just save this now. So you can. Yes. So I have prettier on. So prettier automatically styles it for me. So this is the global selector when I'm where I'm having a box sizing or border box. So let us go to this page and refresh and see what kind of changes have been implemented. Yes. So I think if I go to this page, All right. So currently I'm just using basic filtering. I think it's pretty basic. So we just have a border box. We're using the font family of system UI. Then this is default sans serif. This is the nav bar, and yeah, the background should be green. I think, okay, I think I can stop the server because this is a static file. It's better if I just refresh or restart the server and then go back to the home page. I'll just check it. Yes. So yeah. So now I'll import the style sheets. I think now it should be applied throughout. Great. So now this is clearly how it was going to look like. I can also copy the current file and then go back and then see how it would look like without having all those things done. Yeah, so this is how it would look like before. I think this is better. What do you say? This is better, or is this better? Is this better?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, I think Go is a bit long here. Let us check what is Go using. Which class is Go using? Submit. Okay. Let us see submit button, or is this button? This is the search form button. I think this padding, if I just reduce this padding, okay, that is the horizontal padding. I want to reduce the vertical padding. Just make it 0.1. Yeah, I think this is good. Here I can have admin 123, and I can see the aisles. I can go to the admin dashboard. I can see all these things. So I think I should have added another. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you how. Okay, so grocery one would not be there. I would have edit. So this is how you would want to make changes. So this is where you have the section name and description. Okay. So here I would want to have another T head saying actions. And now if I just go back over here and refresh, so I have this actions over here. So yeah, this is nice. And I think it needs a bit of inline styling. So this search product should go in line with others. So I think that is the only thing that is separating, and then that is not good here. Yeah, I have 2 carrots and I can filter these results with pudding and carrots. So I think, yeah, I think I have tested out everything. I have your ID as well, right? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is just a normal user. You can come over here and okay, so I think even the user would want to, see all the products inside of these aisles. So what you can do is, I think currently carrots work. Yeah, this works. But yeah, users would also want to. So unlike the admin, so other than the admin, even the user would want to see all the aisles over here. So you can also, try to solve this problem on your own. I am also doing that right now. So here on this page, you can have home.html. You can go to admin dashboard, lookout. So here you just have sections. You can have for sections. Okay, so admin dashboard, you need not have add sections. You can show all the sections as well as this thing. And if else this. So I'm copying all this. I'm going to home.html and I'm deleting this and having this here. So what I don't want them to have is an option to add product. They should not be able to do that. I see they should not be able to do all these things.
And I have a doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Until and unless the user signs, they can't search and add products to the page, right? They have to log in or register to search product.
Yeah, that is true. Yes. Do you want to change that? Like,
No, man, I'm currently changing my website.
okay, right. Yeah, so that is true because a user cannot access the home page unless and until they are logged in. So that is why the wrapper was created and it is used here. So now if I go to this home page and I try to log out, and if again the user wants to come to our home page, so this is the home page. If they click on FreshCart, they should be taken to our home page, but they are not taken in because this is a banner. Please log in first. So this is there. But if you want to remove uh, this kind of setting where they are only able to go there, they are only able to access these aisles when they are logged in. If you want to remove this setting, you can simply remove this thing over here. If you just remove this login required from here, it directly works for any kind of user.
Okay.
I can also give a small demo. So here, if I just remove this, and if I log out, even then when I go try to go to fresh cards, I'll be able to see the aisles. I'm not logged in. So I think this should also be allowed here. I was just showing you how you can integrate role based access control and so how you can integrate features where only login should be required and everything. So for that reason I just created this wrapper, but it is ideal to allow users to. So now if I just refresh, it will ask me to log in first. So it is ideal to allow them to be able to see the products even without logging in. So that is what is done in most websites. Even in Amazon, you'll be able to see the products before you sign in. Now I'm just making changes here. I have these products. Yeah, I think I have done the home.html. Now, whenever I'm rendering home.html, I would want to have both sections. Okay, am I calling it sections? Yes. Sections. Yeah, only sections. If I just save this and go back to the login page and log in with Karthik, 456. Nice. So I'm able to see all the products. Nice. So I'm not able to make any changes, but I'm able to see all the products over here. If in case if there might be some questions like this, in case some malicious user is able to know from somewhere that there is an endpoint, something like so this there's an endpoint, something like okay, delete. So if a malicious user wants to delete any kind of section, and if they have gotten hand to this endpoint. If they have, tried some trial and error and try to go to slash section slash delete slash ID, then how does your application handle that? So you have only admins only restriction there. All right, so that is also present. So this is how you completely implement any application for MAD-1 project. I have taken a very small example, but yeah, whatever application you create, you can do that in a similar process. So this was the last session for the bootcamp. You can ask me any questions, and even after this, if you have any questions based on the projects that you're working on, you can drop them to me on Gmail or GChat. So I'm
No doubts, man.
yeah, you
Understood clearly.
great, nice. So yeah, that's it for today's session. You can ask any doubts if you have later, and yeah, thank you. Nice. It was a very nice teaching you. Bye.